What is your American dream?
That my daughters can grow up and do anything they want to do. That's my American dream.
My American dream is an America that's unified and diverse and, filled with understanding and compassion and love.
My American dream is I hope that we can all just live equally and freely without prejudice, without ignorance.
I want to create a business. I want to focus in build my charity, start in America, build a charity.
My American dream is that we can live in a country where we don't necessarily agree on absolutely everything, but we can respect each other and we can work towards making the country better together, because that's what it's all about.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Oh, hi everybody. Did you miss yesterday's episode of Brad Show Live? Well, it was very exciting. Jonathan and Kimmy Kim joined Brad in the studio yesterday. Always lots of fun and hijinks. And we showed you what happened when we went to March for Our Lives in New York City on Saturday. So now, getting ready for the show. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you guys were in here. That's Jake. He's handling my Uncle Puxatawny Phil's criminal case right now. He's amazing. I'll leave you guys alone. Show's gonna start soon. Get ready, get ready, get ready.
I love my face. I was because Sam the groundhog came in, and I'm like,
What are you doing?
what are you doing, Sam? All right. So anyway, welcome everybody. This is Brad Show Live, and we're here to hijinks, I think Sam said. I don't know about hijinks, but we'll have some fun. Also, we're going to help answer your immigration questions. We're going to be meeting up later with Jake Hudnut, who you saw pre-taping something for us. We're talking about stop and frisks, which is really important these days. You know, when you're walking down the street and a cop stops you, we'll be talking about that. We're going to be seeing Kimberly Kim, social media guru / everything else, out on the street doing some bratified marriage interviews, seeing who can pass the bratified marriage, who can't. And of course, Anna Ascona down in Miami will be joining us around the 7 o'clock hour. Right now, I want to introduce to you Kimmy Kim and Jonathan. How are you guys?
Great.
Hello.
What's up, y'all?
Wow.
What's up? And welcome. By the way, you don't have to say what's up, y'all. We can individually say hello to everybody.
Oh,
like,
okay.
hello, Dion, Angela, and Christy, and Petrona. Cheryl Blake, hello. Barbara Lord, Jeff Bosey. Who else? Kerry Ann Wallace, Dawn Harriet. It's always the same people saying hello every day, which I love. We love. It's called the Brad Squad. Stacey Ann Hodge. Who else? Deion Watson, I said that. Denisha, hello. Princess Martin. Who else has joined us? Barbara Lord, I said Barbara Lord. Velma Gale. And on our law office's Spar and Bernstein page, because that was on our Brad Show Live page. We also have Dane Williams from Atlanta, who is generally, he's about 20% the first person. 1 out of 5 shows, he's always the first person.
Oh, nice.
Lisa Bling Rose, Christy, how are you? What's happening? Christy, Willie Williams. He says, hey, how?
Hey, how?
Willie Williams, and he just says, hey, how? And who else? Beverly Thompson, Jonathan Elias.
That's me.
That's you. Hello. How are you? I know.
What's up?
You say what's up.
Saying what's
Casmina
up.
Compton, Sherry Watson, Christy Consali doing both feeds.
She's very
And
popular.
Sandra Rose, French, Claudia Cooper with the hearts, and hello everybody else. If I missed anybody, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Family.
I saw in the news today, let's get right to the news. And before we get right to the news, I got all this news here
Got
in
a
my
lot of
hand.
news.
Lots of news. Lots. You know, I could fan myself with the news.
A lot going on.
You know, right? A lot going on. Crazy world we live in.
Hot with the hot.
You know, every day you think, boy, it can't get crazier. And it just gets
And it
crazier and
does.
crazier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, every time
Scary.
it's scary because you're like, you know what? This the crazy train has left the tracks.
Yeah.
But maybe tomorrow, crazy train will be back on.
Nope.
No.
No.
Crazy train is still off the tracks. It's crazy what's going on a daily basis here in this world.
Yeah.
But we're all here to try to bring some sanity to the world, help as many people as we
Doing our
can.
part.
That's
We're
what
doing
we
our
did.
part. So that's why it says in the lower chyrons, I've learned that word. The
Chiron.
right there.
That's a
right,
big TV word.
Right. Wait 1 second.
This?
Right there. Yes.
That right there.
That right
I
there.
can't seem to point to it.
See, well, my arms are
Your
long.
arms- my
right
arms are too
there,
tiny.
the
I'm not
low,
even- I have
right
little
there. You
T-Rex
see,
arms.
my
I'm
little
tall,
arm.
so-
You're much taller than me.
Yeah.
My little arms
6'2".
didn't reach. Yeah, I'm only.
tall are you?
I am 5'8" on a good day, but really probably just a hair under 5'8". I'm
Yeah,
probably
oh.
5'7 3/4".
I could give you some of my height.
I would like it. I would like it. I could barely dunk when I was younger on an 8-foot basket. Barely.
Well, at least you can.
Barely,
I was gonna
barely.
say,
I was
that's
not only was I
impressive.
short, but I wasn't able to get off the ground either.
Vertical needs a little work.
So anyway, that
find
number
out.
down there, that's the number to call. We're going to be answering your immigration questions. Although we were going to have the boxing announcer. We're going to still have the boxing announcer come and do our intro. And it's going to be like, in this corner, at 5'7 3/4, with a 4-inch reach, but a brain size of 15 centimeters.
There you go.
To answer all of your I can't do the boxing thing. To answer all of your immigration questions, call right now 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-529-5465, and that's the number to call. We will be answering your immigration questions. As crazy as I am now, trust me, I just kind of flip it and become like a normal, really smart, intelligent lawyer in about 10 minutes or so, and we're going to be answering your immigration questions. I have a lot of knowledge up here, so please give us a call right now, 1-800-529-5465. Our lines are open. We got Irvin and Drew who already called. They're waiting a while. I will be getting your immigration questions answered very shortly. Also, if you want to know when our show is on, and we get these questions every day on Facebook, the best way to do it is like and follow Bradshaw Live.
Yes.
If you like and follow Bradshaw Live on Facebook, you will be notified every time, right here, here's the name, every time we come on the air. You're going to get a notification from Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. He's going to actually call you or send you a notification on your phone. He won't call you, but his robot will call you, and his robot will call your phone and give you a notification that we are live, and then you can decide whether you want to watch us or not, but at least you're going to know every day that we're on.
So why not?
So you follow and like Bradshaw Live, and that's the way to do it. Now, last thing.
Share.
Okay, we spend our 2 hours here entertaining people and giving free legal advice. The least they can do is share this with their friends and family. The least.
I feel like it's not a big ask.
It's not a big
I
ask.
don't feel like we're asking for the moon.
But you have to say ask.
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 Not
I think ass. You have that Belgium Southern accent. I don't think it's a big ass. I don't know. That's what it sounded like. I'm like, I don't know. Could be a big ass. I don't know. Could be a pretty big ass. But where we're at, it's a big ask. A big ask.
Ask.
A big
Right.
ass.
A big ass.
Just share that,
And so what we do is so Jonathan,
yes.
show them how you share.
All you have to do is click on the bottom right corner of the video. You see a big arrow pointing towards the right, and it says share. It's very simple. You share it to all your friends and family. Let them know exactly what you're sharing. Just, create a little post, and you'll be helping people. Helping people you love.
There you got it.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. Meanwhile, since this is a legal show, we got to start off with the news of the day here.
Yes.
As far as the law is concerned, Linda Brown died today. Do you know who Linda Brown is?
Yes.
You do know who Linda Brown is?
Yeah. She was a huge fighter, like civil rights activist, and she was on the board of education.
Brown versus Board of Education.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, there was a Supreme Court case in the late 1800s after the Civil War, after Reconstruction in the South. They came, and there was, in the South, there were schools, and there were black schools, and there were white schools, and neither of them mixed. And it wasn't because the blacks didn't want to be with the whites, it was because the whites didn't want to be with the blacks in the late 1800s.
Right.
So there was a Supreme Court decision called Plessy versus Ferguson, and it was in the late 1800s, and Plessy versus Ferguson said, as long as the schools get the same funding and it's the same education, separate is equal as long as they are being treated equally. And that was basically the basis of separating the races in the United States of America. Separate but equal is equal. That's what Plessy versus Ferguson said. And that was the basis for the separation of the races all the way through the 1950s. Even in World War II, there were separate army units, black army units versus white army units.
Fighting for the same
country. Right.
Ain't that some stuff?
Ain't that some stupid stuff? Who came up with that stupid ass idea, right? So anyway, Trump's ancestors. Right. So anyway, Linda Brown, she was the girl at the center of Brown versus Board of Education, and what the Supreme Court, it was a unanimous decision.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court came down and said separate but equal is not equal. It is fundamentally unequal.
Yes.
And that became the basis for the civil rights movement, for the end of segregation. It took a very long time, all the way through MLK Jr. We even saw MLK Jr.'s granddaughter speaking at the March for Gun Rights.
Yes.
I mean, gun protect. Not even gun rights. It's against gun reform.
Yeah.
You're not a right to have a gun,
No.
but we want less guns, less violence, not more. So unfortunately, Linda Brown passed today, and yesterday,
age of 76.
and it was Brown's father. I'm just reading here, Reverend Oliver Brown, who sued the Topeka School Board to allow his daughter the right to attend an all-white school in the Kansas capital. 4 other school segregation cases were combined with Brown's to be heard by the Supreme Court. The justices unanimously ruled in favor of Brown. Brown, who was also known as Linda Carroll Thompson after her marriage in the mid-1990s, she was forced to attend an all-black school that was far away from her home, even though the all-white school was just a few blocks away.
But that's still equal, right?
But that was equal, right. So she had to travel over an hour to go to the all-black school when there was an all-white school that was literally walking distance.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the Supreme Court ruled unanimously in favor of Brown. In its decision, the court overturned, as I was just saying, I'm reading here in the notes, the 1896 separate but equal ruling in Plessy versus Ferguson, marking the case as one of the, it was actually the first, to my history knowledge, it's I believe it is the first major civil rights win, and that really started the civil rights era. I mean, it took. I mean, we're still fighting to this day.
We are.
Okay, but we're a lot closer than we are in 1954 because of this.
Yeah.
So our condolences to everybody in the Brown family. She was certainly a civil rights hero. She will be remembered for eternity.
Forever.
For eternity.
Yes.
As long as there is the United States of America, she will be remembered. Yeah. One of the most famous Supreme Court decisions of all time.
Absolutely.
And talking about separate is separate and equal is not equal. The Interior Department, according to CNN, which I kind of believe.
Yeah.
I kind of believe
they're
CNN.
I feel like they're pretty reputable.
Yeah, I think they're reputable, although Trump says no, because Trump just doesn't like what they have to say.
Well, right. Anything that he says is not reputable seems very reputable to me.
So they say that the Interior Department is done with trying to have a diverse Interior Department. This is a government agency. They're done with diversity. No diversity anymore. And Zinke says, we're not about diversity. What's important is having the right person for the right job. I care about excellence, and I'm going to get the best people, and you'll find we have the most diverse group anyone's ever had. Well, if, in fact, I will. That's the guy. I don't know if that guy's going to get the diverse group.
I was going to say, he looks like he's really leading the charge.
I definitely feel like that diverse scorecard will be
I will say this. If you truly are hiring colorblind and looking for, I don't know, this guy with the hat and the American flag.
It's
already looking a little skinny. It's a little
suspect.
As my daughter Gabby says, that's a little sketchy.
It's a little sketchy.
Yeah.
So I will say this as Secretary Ryan Zinke, with the cowboy hat and the American flag.
Right.
If you truly are going to be hiring colorblind, this guy, if you are truly going to be hiring colorblind and the best people for the position, I would suggest that the Interior Department will look something similar to what we have here at Spar and Bernstein, where literally we have women, men, and every nationality and every race.
Yes.
And people say, Brad, how did you do this? And I will tell you honestly, the way I did it was I literally hired whoever the best for the job was, and it turned out that we have a multicultural people from all different walks of life, different parts of the world, race, color, creed, and it ends up that it didn't happen by accident. It happened by naturally picking the best person, because we are a diverse society. So if you're picking the best person out of a diverse society, what do you get? You get a diverse, diverse group of people working here.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think he's gonna do it.
I see. My concern is if you say you're going to pick the best person, you should get what you get here. You wouldn't get an all white or an all male or whatever characteristic they're looking for.
That will be his excuse for it being an all white.
Maybe.
I just don't. I don't feel like he's actually gonna.
Where's
really
that picture again of him with making that weird face?
Right.
Let's see that weird face. No, not the guy. Not that picture. With the weird face picture.
Yeah.
That weird face picture.
Look, that's exactly how he's gonna look. Hey, it was blind.
So now, what CNN says. Is Zinke's comments are particularly surprising to those who feel the agency has struggled to recruit and retain a diverse workforce. Out of 68,000 employees, 70% are white.
There you go.
That would lead me to believe. That would lead me to believe that you are not hiring the best for the job.
Exactly.
That you are actually picking particular characteristics to hire for that particular job.
And was that already with the diversity?
That was with the diverse program going into effect.
Right. So now without it going into effect.
I guarantee you.
If you're already not diverse with it going in effect, then you think that he's going to actually change it?
Yeah. I don't know. All right, we'll see. I think we got to come back and check how the Interior Department's doing in 6 months from now. Do you know what the Interior Department even does?
The
Department for the Interior instead of the Exterior.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Makes sense.
Right. It's the inside. No, it's not the inside things. It's for they do all the parks like the Grand Canyon and Zion National Park in Utah, and I guess Old Faithful. That the geyser that goes up, all of the national monuments and U.S. government parks. That's what they're in charge of.
Do they do infrastructure too? Are they highways and all that, or is that a completely different?
That's Highway Administration. That would be somebody different. I guess.
That's crazy.
Yes, and you know what, Jilly Bean? I just got this idea in my head.
Did it just pop in
it just
your head?
Popped in my head.
Whisper?
Yeah. Jilly Bean says, and you know what? Because she's gonna go. I agree. Listening to this conversation, because she's such a. Because Jilly Bean, who's our producer, she's such a social. She really is a social activist.
Yes.
So she gets really, really passionate about this, and she goes. And parks mean a lot to things to different people.
Yeah. This is true.
That is very true, Jilly Bean. All right, so. Here's another thing, actually, talking about, by the way, 1-800-529-5465. Our lines are open. Don't hang up, because we will be answering your immigration questions. Trump administration, did you see this one? Proposes adding citizenship questions to the census. Why do you think they would do that? Jonathan, why do you think they would do that? Why do you think that Trump cares about whether somebody's a citizen or not? Why would he want to put that on the census, do you think? I'm putting you on the spot right now, Jonathan.
Wouldn't that break up the groups? If there's a group already that has
Well, let me give you a hint.
Maybe?
No.
No.
Okay, no. Okay, no. No, you're not on the right track. Okay. All right. So let me give you a hint. This is what the census is for. The census is to determine the electoral college.
Right.
How many votes each state gets towards president of the United States.
Right.
It also is determined how many congressmen are represented by each state. So, and they draw up congressional districts based on the census and the population. Because Congress's vote, the number of congressmen from each state goes based on population.
Right.
Okay. So now, it also goes to getting government funding. So let's say, for example, the U.S. Congress passes a bill that says $1 billion for roads. Okay, so where does the $1 billion go to? It doesn't all go to Wyoming.
Right.
It gets divided up based on the population. So now, knowing this, knowing that this is how presidents get elected based on population, okay? This is how congressmen and congressional districts are run, and this is how money is allotted by Washington to the states based on a 10-year census. Why do you think now they put citizenship as a question? I'll give you the answer.
If you're not a citizen, then it doesn't add to the population?
No, because they want to scare people to not submit their census forms. They are trying, what Trump is trying to do, what Trump and the Republicans are trying to do is scare people, even people who are citizens may be scared and say, you know what, I don't want to say, maybe I'm naturalized, maybe they get scared and say, wow, maybe they'll take my citizenship away from me. You know, people get scared when you start, especially so who do you think is going to be scared to mark off that they're a citizen? Minorities, first-generation Americans, people who naturalized recently. So what are they trying to do? States where there are minorities and immigrants, they're trying to get that population not counted. So when that population doesn't get counted, guess what? Then they get less money from the government. There's less electoral votes possibly per state, less congressmen elected from that state. It affects representation.
Is the census completely anonymous? Does it remain?
Yeah, but people don't believe that. People don't believe that.
Especially not with this administration.
So now California has sued. California on the forefront. Congratulations.
Cali, West Coast.
That's right. That's right.
LA.
That's right. West Coast, right? Yeah. West Coast is sued East Coast. And the California Secretary of State, Alex Padilla, trashed it. This is his quote. Says the citizenship question is the latest attempt by President Trump to stoke the fires of anti-immigrant hostility. Now in one full swoop, the U.S. Commerce Department has ignored its own protocols and years of preparation in a concerted effort to suppress a fair and accurate census count from our diverse communities. The administration's claim that simply seeking to protect voting rights is not only laughable, but contemptible. They are trying to suppress minorities and immigrants from completing this, scaring them to reduce those numbers, and therefore it affects electoral college, it affects congressional districts, it affects how money is distributed through Washington to the different states. New York announced, by the way, let's give up for New York, where we are.
Okay.
On Tuesday, Cuomo said he's going to sue also.
All right.
Hey.
See, that's why I live here.
All right. So that's what's happening there. By the way, Walmart now has robots in 50 of its stores.
Not here for it.
Okay. If you see a robot in the store in Walmart, they have replaced people from working. I'm not exactly sure what the robots are doing, but they only go 2 to 3 miles an hour.
They're checking to make sure like the shelves are okay. They're like, just making sure that everything is intact.
You ever see Austin Powers, the first one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, like when the steamroller's coming at Austin Powers?
Yeah.
I can picture Kimmy Kim Kim in a Walmart and the robot's going 2 miles an hour down, and for 10 minutes Kimmy Kim Kim is standing there yelling,
I'm not here for it. Who's seen iRobot?
Exactly.
I did not see it.
Exactly.
iRobot with Will Smith.
Yeah.
It's coming to life.
It's coming to life.
It literally was a robot that they had help out at home, start babysit, cleans the house, helps you with your daily life, and all of a sudden it just like switches and all of the robots start going crazy and like killing people and taking over the freaking world.
Yeah.
And it's starting.
I saw that movie too, but it was called The Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I saw the same goddamn movie with the white guy this time. And then they had to send the robot back in time to go kill the other robots. I mean, it's all
happening.
crazy.
Look, they're hugging it, they're smiling, and I bet you after they took the picture, it ran over all of them. So, there you go.
Can you imagine goes to the, by the way, Walmart still sells rifles. Can you imagine the robot goes to like a rifle aisle and starts like,
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
The next headline is Walmart full of people massacred by
robots.
robots.
Okay.
Let's not hope that.
Right.
No, we don't want that. But.
Taking away jobs, guys.
Yeah.
By the way, giraffes are now entered the endangered species list.
Giraffes?
Wait, what?
Yeah, they
Oh my
dropped
God.
precipitously. I was in South Africa. I have a picture.
no.
I didn't know this headline was coming in because I read the headlines as we go along here. You know, because I actually have a job as a lawyer during the day, so I don't really I don't really have time. You know, want to know how I read these headlines as I'm announcing them, so it's not as if. You know, I prepare.
Right.
But I wish I knew about this giraffe headline. I have a picture with me in a giraffe. We could have used it in our background
Did it lick
picture
you?
there. In South Africa. No, you don't go near giraffe. He'll kick you. Okay, but it's but no, it wasn't like a baby giraffe. It was like a real giraffe in the wild. But I stood in front of it. But if I went any closer, it would have kicked me and killed me. But I was about 10, 15 feet away from the giraffe.
Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Do they kill people?
You know,
Like, kill people?
first they closed down Toys R Us and they put the giraffe out of business. Okay, and then now the giraffe is now on the unemployment line. What's the giraffe from Toys R Us? What was his name?
I forgot his name.
Jeffrey the giraffe. Now he's on unemployment, and now they're killing the giraffes in South Africa.
Oh my God! It's a break for giraffes.
Yeah, there's only now 97,500 giraffes left in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
they are,
not okay.
and I wonder why. I guess people are hunting them.
And doing what?
Yeah, they're hunting them.
Yeah,
They're
but what
hunting
do you
them.
do with?
I don't know. You put it on a
Giraffe.
trophy, I guess.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
People
disgusting.
so cruel.
That's disgusting.
All right, so last thing before we go to answer your questions, and Stephen from Los Angeles, and Drew from Fort Lauderdale, and Iceland from Tampa, Florida. I will be answering all your questions in about 10 seconds. You have to see this. This I saw.
Okay.
Did you see the woman in China eat the cotton candy? There was a game show, and it was who can eat the cotton candy the fastest.
Oh,
and
I
am
did see
telling
this
you,
clip.
But if you watch this, we can only show it once because Mark Zuckerberg will take us down.
Yeah.
So I am telling you,
Watch
don't
it.
blink. Wait, I'm giving everybody.
Yeah.
Doesn't she go against like a guy or something?
Yeah, she goes against a guy. Just don't
Don't
blink.
blink. Don't
Because this whole entire thing of cotton candy, it's like the
thought it was
size,
fake.
like if you put like the size of my head and Jonathan's head together, that's
That's
about
a
the
big-
size of the cotton
large,
candy.
yeah.
Like two
That's a
heads
big
together.
heads.
That's a big,
Yeah.
big thing of cotton candy. Don't blink. We're going to show it now in 5 seconds, and we can only show it once, but watch this woman eat the cotton candy. Ready, go.
That
Done.
is insane.
Are you kidding me?
Look at her.
Are you kidding me?
Look how
And
proud of
done.
herself she
And
is.
done.
Kind of turned me on a little
All
bit.
right. So she goes. So she says afterwards in Chinese, I guess, because she can't say this in English because this is in China, or maybe she speaks English. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
assume this is translated from Chinese. It says, she says, no matter what game it is, I want to beat it. Want to beat. I guess yes. This is definitely translated in Chinese because it's not proper English. She wrote, no matter what game it is, want to beat me. Not going to happen. The woman wrote in the status of her post.
And she talked shit after.
And yes, and she's
Damn.
talking trash. And she's talking trash,
I
right?
like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
My type of girl. Woo.
Yeah.
All right, so this is that's all the news that's fit to print, as they say in the New York Times, and also on the Brad Show Live. What we say is it's now time to answer your immigration questions. Call right now 1-800-529-5465. That's the number to call to get your immigration questions answered. If you're shy, like the three of us, as I always like to say, you're shy, you don't like to
Especially
call, then you can speak with Jonathan and Kimberly Kim right now, also known as Belgium Kim, also known as Social Media Girl, also known as Social Media Queen, also known as Rapid Fire Queen, also known as Rapid Fire Kim. Call her anything you want, okay? But you can chat with her right now, and when you chat with her, you can ask anything you want of her, and maybe she will ask that of us. It doesn't have to be an immigration question,
that's
Kimmy
true.
Kim. You can ask anything you'd like. I may have the answer, I may not. I can assure you that I will have the immigration answer. But if you are going to leave a serious immigration question, what I want you to do is tell us as much detail as you can. Okay, tell us where you're from, what's going on. Give us like 4, 5, 6, 7 sentences. Give us a detailed question and give us the background so I can answer it properly. If you just say, hey, I'm here, I want a green card, there's not a lot I can answer on that. I'm going to be like, hey, I'm here, maybe I can help you, come in. I mean, that's basically going to be my answer. So please leave as much detail as you can, and therefore I can help you. So you can chat with Kimmy Kim Kim and Jonathan right now. They're both going to be chatting with you on our Facebook feeds at Spar and Bernstein and Bradshaw Live. In the meantime, I am going to be speaking with Stephen from Los Angeles, California. Stephen,
Hi.
how you doing?
I'm here. Oh, I'm doing great.
What's going on?
So I have a friend here in California as well. He is just working without authorization, but he is about to adjust his status through marriage-based.
Okay.
And he still wants to work until probably when he gets his EAD card after the file of the adjustment of status. That is there going to be an issue because he's been
working illegally. He's working illegally. He's working undocumented.
Yeah, he just wants to work until
he should be working every day. Okay, so let me tell you what the law is. If you made a legal entry into the United States of America and you're married to a U.S. citizen, you file an adjustment of status application, it is not a bar to getting a green card if you worked illegally. So I want you to tell the truth on your application that your friend worked illegally. I want you to go into the interview and say, yes, I worked illegally. And when you get your social security number and your work permit, I want you to go on the books and I want you to go file your back taxes, and then you followed the law perfectly.
Mm-hmm. What are those back taxes? Are those taxes that he is...
So if he has worked under the table, say, or got paid cash, or however it is that you want to phrase it, he would have to go back and file taxes for those years he worked. You've got to follow the law. Now, a lot of times you say, oh my God, I got to go back and file 3, 4, 5 years taxes because I want you to tell the truth. I don't want you to be caught in a lie, because if you're caught in a lie, now you're going to be denied for misrepresentation. That's going to cost me a fortune of money. I'm going to be broke. I'm going to be bankrupt. Well, no, because we got a lawyer by the name of Carmela Waldron here, who, if you can't afford to pay your taxes, will negotiate it down to almost nothing for you. So there's always ways to do things perfectly legal and be able to tell the truth and to be able to get your green card. So yes, he should be working. Yes, he should continue to work. No, it will not affect him getting his green card. No, it will not affect him getting his work permit. And if you need more help, hold on 1 second. All right, so let's go to Drew in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Drew.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Just a question.
Yes.
I have my alien resident card without a date, had it for over 30 years.
You have an alien registration card for 30 years, and you're asking me, is it good?
Yes.
Okay. So you have the old. Where are you from? England? You still seem to have a British accent.
Yes.
Never. How did you live here 30 years? You didn't lose your British accent. Congratulations. Most people who live here for 30 years, you wouldn't know they're British anymore. But anyway, you have the old. I assume you have the old green card that has no expiration date.
Correct.
Okay. It is not really valid anymore, unfortunately. They passed a regulation at least 15 years ago, maybe longer, that said all of those cards that don't have an expiration date are now invalid. Now, that doesn't mean you're not a lawful permanent resident of the United States. It doesn't mean that you don't have status here anymore. It's just that card can't be used to do what you want it to do, which is either travel or get a job or renew your driver's license. It's like having an expired passport. Just because your passport expired doesn't mean you're not a U.S. citizen anymore. It's kind of the same deal. So you would need to renew. Okay. You would need to renew your green card. I got tongue-tied there a second.
Okay.
Okay, or become a citizen. Why don't you become a citizen?
Oh, yes, I think about that too. Also, yes. That's
Is there any reason why you're not a citizen?
No, not really. Just need to get around to it.
Okay, so do it because you have nothing to lose and everything to gain because you're a British citizen. So if you become a U.S. citizen, you'd be a dual citizen between the United States and Great Britain. So you have everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Thanks so much, Brad.
All right, you're very welcome. Hold on if you need help. 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-529-5465. We are taking your calls right now. We do have a bunch of open lines, so if you call, I will be answering your immigration questions. Let's go to Iceland in Tampa, Florida. Iceland. Is it Iceland or Iceland?
Hello.
Hello, Iceland, Iceland. Which way?
Iceland.
Iceland. I got it right the first time. And then at the very last second, I had this thought, maybe I pronounced her name wrong, but I thought I was pretty right. Iceland. Very good. Okay, on my part. What's going on, Iceland?
Yeah, I'm calling for my aunt. She's been married for about 4 or 5 years now, and she obtained her first 2 years green card.
Great.
Then her husband abandoned her, and she go to New York because she have no one in Florida. So she moved to New York, and after that she received stuff to obtain her 10 years, but she never have no joint, nothing with her husband. So she get a lawyer in Tampa, here in Tampa, and she going to deportation. She get a lawyer here in Tampa, and they say, okay, they remove her from her deportation. Then, after 2 years, now she received a letter saying that she have an interview April the 5th. So now she fly down from New York.
All right, stop. Okay, so let me get to the bottom of this. All right, so she separated from her husband. Did she get divorced from him?
No, she's not divorced.
Okay,
the lawyer
so that's
told her not to get divorced.
All right, so the lawyer's a moron. Okay, so this is the story. Okay, if you are separated from your spouse, okay, there's only 2 ways to go. All right, there's 3 ways to go to get a green card. Number 1, which is you and your spouse go to the interview together and prove it's a real marriage, and that you're living together today. It's a real marriage today. You can't do that because you just told us she's been separated and living in New York for the last couple of years. So if they go together, let me finish. If they go together, they're lying and they're committing fraud and misrepresentation and probably would be caught. The second way is you go to the interview and you prove the reason why I'm not living with my husband anymore is because he abused me, physically abused me. If that's the case, then fine, bring the proof. If not, then you have to terminate the marriage. You have to get divorced from your husband and say, it was a real marriage back in the day, but we didn't get along and he abandoned me, but here's the proof back in the day it was a real marriage and I'm now divorced. That's the way to do it.
Okay, but the lawyer now told her that she should come down here, right? Now she's down here from New York, and today she go to the lawyer, and the lawyer told her that she need to get her husband, and she need to get affidavit from people to take with her to go to the interview.
Okay,
on the
again,
when she not even know where her husband is.
Again, my first sentence out of, and I don't want you to announce who the lawyer is, but the first sentence out of my mouth is, lawyer's a moron. He's giving bad advice.
Okay.
It's not what you should be doing. Okay? So what she should be doing right now is, I don't know what she's doing in Tampa, Florida, when she lives in New York, and you got a good lawyer right in New York City. Okay? But what she should be doing is this. What she should be doing is do not another thing, but let me put you on hold, and let's have a consultation with her tomorrow, and let's figure out her life. So hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right.
1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Errol in Brooklyn. Errol.
Brad, how you doing?
What's up?
Good. Someone I know is thinking about getting married to someone who is a green card holder.
Right.
My question is, once they file the I-130, how long will that take? And if after the person becomes a citizen, how much time shorter would that be?
Well, it's a different process. It's a different process when you're married to a green card holder than when you're married to a citizen. Okay, so assuming you're here, I'm going to make some assumptions. Tell me if I'm incorrect. The person's in the United States and they've overstayed their visa. Is that correct?
The visa is not overstayed yet.
Okay, fine. All right. So then the answer is this: she should marry the person, file the I-130 visa petition. You're going to have to go home. Don't overstay your time. Don't violate your visa. Okay, going to have to go home. It's about a 1.5-year process, 20 months. Person will come back with a green card. That's the process.
She's eligible to become file for citizenship in June.
Okay, so then if you're eligible to file for your citizenship in June, then the spouse should be filing the citizenship in June. They should not be filing the I-130 and file for an extension on the visa. But you can't file for the extension on the visa and file the I-130 at the same time. And then adjust your status here.
All right, man.
All right, hold on if you need help. All right, 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-529-5465. All right, so we got nobody on hold right now, but I know that Jonathan and Kim has been talking to some people, I assume. Have you been chatting?
We have indeed.
You have been chatting. All right, so what's going on the Brad Show live feed and the Spar and Bernstein? By the way, is there like a different vibe on the different feeds?
Oh, totally.
Okay, so what's the vibe on Brad Show live?
For me, at least, it seems more family.
More family.
You know?
Yeah, it's Brad Squad family.
Yeah.
Right, they're just there, tried and true. They don't even have any, they're just talking to themselves. They have us on mute.
Are y'all watching us?
They're not even watching us. It's just a big chat session for them,
Are
right?
y'all watching us?
Right.
Yeah, we're really just hosting their forum.
Exactly,
every
right,
day.
exactly. and then I law offices of Spar and Bernstein.
I mean, law offices of Spar and Bernstein, we have Beverly Thompson and Lisa Bling Rose still holding it
Holding
down
the fort
for
down
the
there.
Brad Squad.
Right.
But for the most part, people are on
And
there
just
going,
and answering their question.
I need my
help.
immigration question answered.
Got it.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
so let's see what's going on. What questions we got?
So our first question was actually from Marjorie today, and she said, "Can you file for divorce while your husband is in Jamaica and you are here if you're not contesting anything?"
Yes, but I don't know where here is, okay?
In the
So it
US.
has nothing to do with your husband in Jamaica. You have to have jurisdiction in New York. So for jurisdiction in New York for a divorce, if the marriage occurred outside of New York, maybe the marriage occurred in Kentucky, maybe marriage occurred in California, maybe it happened in, say, Jamaica, another country. No matter what it is, you have to be living in New York State for 2 years for New York State to have jurisdiction. So as long as you've been living in New York State for 2 years, you can do the divorce here. If you have not been living in New York State for 2 years, then you gotta wait for the 2-year mark before you do the divorce, or do the divorce somewhere else. I can tell you just from anecdotal experience, I don't know for a fact, but anecdotal experience, divorces in Jamaica take forever, years and years and years. It just never happens. I've seen clients say, I've been waiting 2-3 years for a divorce. I'm like, stop it, let me do it for you here, and we do it fast. But you have to be, if the marriage happened outside of the state of New York, you gotta be here for 2 years.
All right. Noemi Valencia says, "Hi, I got my multiple 10 years visa. Is it possible to bring my 2 daughters who are under 18 years old for a vacation to my 3 siblings in California? And can her niece apply for a petition for her?"
Niece cannot apply for a petition for you. And my concern is that when you go back, I've seen situations, don't do anything till you speak with us first. I've seen situations where the mother gets the visa, and the reason why the mother got the visa is she's leaving her young children behind.
Oh, whoa.
So the reason she got the visa was because she has something to return home to. So now when you went and traveled, and now you came back and you said, aha, now I'm going to show them. You see, aha, I came and went back. I've shown them that I'm not staying. I'm going to bring my kids. And then when you bring your kids, what I've seen, not all the time, but sometimes, is that they say, now you have no reason to return, I'm canceling your visa. And I'm not giving the kids the visa.
Oof.
So before you go and just try it and keep your fingers crossed, what I would suggest you do is have a consultation with us.
Kasmita says, someone wanted me to ask you, when you get back your receipt from immigration after you filed your green card, how long is it going to take for them to fingerprint you? And then after that, how long is it going to take for you to actually get your green card?
Ha! There I am. Yes, I was just waiting for them to put the camera back on me. I'm assuming you're doing an adjustment of status application, and it's about a 9-10 month process depending on the state you're in, from start to finish.
All right, Middleton G. Vina says, "Hello, I'm married to a U.S. American citizen for almost 2 years. My sister wants to come to the U.S. to visit and work. We already called some of the recruiting agencies and they said they can't do anything unless she can find a fiance so she can come. So what should they do?"
Well, I don't know what you mean by recruiting agencies. I guess you want to find her a job. You need a job sponsor. There's plenty of companies out there that sponsor. I think what you really need right now is a consultation, and then we'll take it from there.
Sorry, I lost my spot. Nelia says.
I was like, is it my turn
I was like,
again?
where's my spot on my screen? Nelia says, I'm a U.S. citizen and want to sponsor my sister to just come and visit. But we'd like to do it the fastest way possible while she's in the Philippines. What's the fastest way to get a visa?
What kind of visa are we talking about?
She just wants to come visit, so I'm assuming
It's a visitor's visa. You go apply for it and hope for the best. I mean, if you want to have a consultation with us so we can give you some advice on what you should be bringing for your visa interview, by all means. But yeah, visitor's visa.
All right. Jedith says, hi, I'm a Filipina.
Aha. A lot of Filipinas today.
Yeah.
We had a lot of Philippines are in the house today.
Yes.
Well, they usually
They
are.
are in the house, but they're usually quiet. But they have been coming out in full force with questions now.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
All
are.
right.
Yes.
So I'm a Filipino green card holder and living here in Texas, USA for just 1.5 years. I want my kids to be here too. What would be the best and fastest way to bring them all here? Please give me some advice.
Are these kids over 21 or under 21?
It is not.
And how did she get her green card? Again, we need you
need all the details.
we need you to give all the details. How did you get your green card? How old are your children? And are they married or single? And then we can take it from there. And the reason why
So how about if they are younger?
If they're younger, obviously it's better than if they're older. And Philippines is, unfortunately, Philippines, India, Mexico, China are the largest groups of people immigrating to the United States from any other country. So they have limits on people who can come from those four countries. And as a result, the waiting times, especially for family-based cases from the Philippines, is years and years and years. It's always, if they're under 21, yes, family's the way to go. Family sponsorship's the way to go. If they're over 21 from the Philippines, may not be the best way to go. They're going to wait even longer than the rest of the world in many occasions. Employment-based petitions are much faster. So if they're over 21 and they can find a job sponsor, that's always faster.
Gloria says, when my brother came to Hawaii, he never declared that he had a son. And so now, if he goes ahead and petitions for his son, is there any chance that the son is going to be able to come through even though he didn't originally claim him on his first paperwork?
Yeah, because there's a very big possibility that there's a misrepresentation issue. And when there's a misrepresentation issue, it can not only affect the son's case, but it could also affect your status here in the United States. It's a big deal, not to mention all of your children. And the government's going to want to know why. What were you hiding? What were you trying to prevent us from knowing? A lot of times, I'm not saying he did anything wrong. A lot of times people are in relationships with their spouses and then they have a child outside of the marriage, or and then it leads to questions, what's going on in the marriage, and they say, well, you know what, I'm just going to leave this kid out of it. A lot of times people are just dumb and just don't put their kids in, and a lot of times, sometimes they're really trying to hide something. So before you do anything, let's figure out what's going on, because it really could affect you and your child.
All right, Raul Alvarez.
Ooh, where's he from? Not from Liberia.
Raul Alvarez.
He is not from Nigeria, Raul. No, he's not. He is not from Jamaica. Maybe. No. Probably not.
No.
Not from. Maybe from the Philippines. Could be a Filipina.
Possibly.
Filipino. It could be South American. Could be Central American. Mexican. We don't know.
We don't know.
Okay. Any event.
But we do know he is a U.S. citizen.
Okay. Oh, so that doesn't really. Oh, you see, that's me. I thought he was. Oh, that was me stereotyping.
That's what happens when you jump the gun, Brad.
Let's not. Okay. All right. So I'm a U.S. citizen. My legal wife is a green card holder.
Okay, great.
For 3 years now, and my 19-year-old daughter, I think he just met. She is as well. Can he petition them now to become a U.S. citizen right away so they don't have to wait for the next 2 years?
How long did they get
They've had their green card for 3 years.
For 3 years. As long as he's a U.S. citizen, and he's been a U.S. citizen for that whole 3-year period, he does not do anything for their citizenship. The wife would have to file citizenship, a naturalization application, based on a bona fide marriage of 3 years. The daughter. Oh, I should tell you. Okay, I'm telling you. What's his name again? Raul?
Raul Alvarez.
All right, so Raul Alvarez. This is the story. Your wife. That's so funny. I forgot about television. So Raul Alvarez. This is the story. Your wife can do citizenship based on a bona fide marriage of 3 years, provided that for those 3-year period you've been living together and you're a U.S. citizen. Your daughter's an automatic U.S. citizen if you were a U.S. citizen prior to her 18th birthday and she was living in the same household as you. Otherwise she has to wait 5 years. So why don't we do this? Why don't you keep chatting a little bit? We have a whole bunch of people who are on hold, who are dying to speak with me.
Yeah.
Okay, burning questions.
Burning sensation.
No, they do not have a burning sensation. If you have a burning sensation, you should be calling the medical show, not the legal show.
Brad can't help you with that.
Yeah, Brad cannot help you with any burning sensations, but I can help you. It would be a very awkward show.
That would be such an awkward show.
Yeah. Tell me about
show you my laugh.
Yes, that'd be so disgusting. Awkward. That'd be disgusting. All right, let's go to Lizelle in Ocean City, Maryland. Lizelle.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, what's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about my case because I live in Maryland and I have a multiple visa for 10 years. But the case is that I overstayed. I was issued MBA issued me an ID.
Wait, a BA?
Like
What is a
ID
BA? What's a BA?
The license, where you get your license.
Oh, the motor vehicles department. You have a driver's license.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
So they issued me a federal ID, but then it expires already.
Wait a second, they didn't issue you a federal ID. Wait a second, the motor vehicles doesn't issue federal IDs. The motor vehicles department issues a driver's license or a state identification card. Is that what you have?
Yeah, kind of. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. So you have a driver. That doesn't help. And by the way, I just want to make sure that you know what you have. And number two, that has absolutely no effect on you getting a green card. So you've overstayed your time here. Where are you from? The Philippines?
Yes.
Okay. And your question basically is, it's a big Filipino day today, right? And your question is this. Your question is, how do I get a green card? And the answer is, we would need to have a consultation with you because I can't go through your entire life history on our show and then figure out, what you're going to do. Getting a green card is a process, and it's going to be through family, job sponsorship, and we have to sit down with you and figure out what's the best avenue and what's the fastest way for you to do it. So hold on one second, and you're going to need to have a consultation. Now, even though you're in Maryland, we do phone consultations. You don't have to come to New York. Okay, so hold on one second. Hold on. All right, so let's go to Vasily in Queens. Did I get your name right? Vasily?
Yes.
How are you?
Yes. Hi, good evening. How are you?
Good. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Romania.
Mm-hmm. I was in Romania a whole bunch of times 3-4 years ago. They have an old city there. There's a lot of drinking going on in that old city in Bucharest, right?
A lot of drinking.
Yeah, a lot of drinking going on in old city Bucharest, and then it's Jonathan type of place, and then they have another place on the beach called Mamaia, right? Was it Mamaia? Mamaia, yeah, I was there too. Right, it's like the Hamptons of Romania.
Oh,
I know all this stuff.
You fancy?
I'm very fancy. Anyway, so what's your question?
Okay, so I'm having it's a little complex, my case.
Okay.
I immigrated to the United States in 1988. As a political refugee. I adjust my status to LPR. They gave me the green card in the following year.
Great.
But then I caught a criminal case in 2001.
For what?
I have 3 years for the credit card fraud.
Okay. Right.
And they gave me 3 years. Matter of fact, in 99 they gave me 2000. They gave me 5 months jail time and 3 years probation. Then the next year, 2001. I violated the conditions of the probation, the 3 years, and they gave me 3 years of state prison. I got only credit card fraud, only white collar crime. And then after that, in 2006, I've been convicted 1 to 4 in Pennsylvania.
For what?
Credit card.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Twice now.
Then,
right.
Yes. So then I have another 3 misdemeanors similar to this. So in other words, moral turpitude. But in 2003, when I came out of the California prison, from the state prison, in 2004, I went to renew my green card.
Right.
And they arrest me and they send me to Louisiana, which
for deportation.
I forgot to tell you. Yes, I'm stateless from Romania. I came as a political refugee, and I'm not Romanian citizenship. I got no citizenship from anywhere.
You have no
I am
citizenship
stateless.
anywhere.
Anywhere.
Okay.
Right. So.
All right, so I'm gonna tell. I can tell you your story already. I can finish the story for you. Tell me if I'm right or not. Okay.
Yeah.
So they charged you as an aggravated felon because you had a credit card fraud.
Moral turpitude.
Right. Aggravated felony because you went to jail for more than a year. You violated. So jail for more than a year on credit card fraud, aggravated felony. Violation of probation of a felony is an aggravated felony. A theft offense, jail more than a year is a felony. Credit card fraud in excess of $10,000, I didn't even ask the amount, is an aggravated felony. So they got you aggravated felony left, right, and center. Now the problem is this for the U.S. government. This is the U.S. government's problem, not your problem. The problem is they can't just throw you out of a plane over Romania. Okay, so they have to be able to say to Romania, hey, I got this guy Vasily. He's a Romanian citizen. Here's the proof he's a Romanian citizen. We're going to deport him because he's an aggravated felon. And there's no evidence that you are a Romanian citizen. You can't get a passport or whatever. There's no evidence of where you're from.
They tried many times.
Right, and they can't get it. And this is why you have never been deported, and they can't hold you in jail forever, and they can't throw you out of a plane. So basically, you're living in the United States under an order of deportation, but the United States has not physically deported you because there's nowhere to deport you to. There's no country that will accept you.
Right.
And that's your situation now. Okay, but let's continue.
I would like to reopen my case because since 2006, the last conviction, I'm out of trouble. I got a lot of changes happened in my situation. My wife, she's American citizen now. My two girls, they American citizens, except me.
Right.
They took my green card away in 2003, 2004 in Louisiana, in Oakdale. So now, I understand according to, I've been studying a little bit the immigration law and stuff.
Okay.
Now I see that it looks very good for me on 212H.
It looks good for you. Why? Why does it look good for you? Because it doesn't sound good so far, everything I'm hearing. But tell me why you think it sounds good for you.
I think under the 212H, I got a chance to.
Yeah, 212H, yes, but you've already been ordered deported. You don't get a chance. You need to reopen your deportation case. Okay, you can't reopen your deportation case and say, now that I'm a good person for 10 years, I want to reopen the case, or now that I'm eligible for some sort of relief, I want a do-over. That doesn't happen. You only get a reopening. Reopening is a do-over because there's a constitutional violation on your case. There's some sort of violation on your case. So maybe you had ineffective assistance of counsel, or maybe you were eligible for relief when you weren't. Now, what the problem is, based on what I'm hearing, is the fact is whether there was ineffective assistance of counsel or not, the fact is you were an aggravated felon. So you don't get a chance to reopen your case now 15 years later and say, now that I have 15 years good moral character, I want to do a 212H waiver, because 212H waivers, you can adjust your status through a wife in a 212H waiver, even when I'm an aggravated felon. You don't get that opportunity. So what I'm hearing without any benefit of looking through your file, and I would want to look through your file before I give you specific legal advice, but I would tell you generally in your situation, the way that you're going to help yourself is you got to go back and attack the underlying criminal convictions on which is the reason why you were ordered deported in the first place. And that's either going to the governors of the states where you were found guilty and asking for pardons, or trying to vacate the underlying criminal convictions because your rights were violated in the underlying criminal conviction. But you're not going to get a chance to reopen your immigration case to do a 212H waiver now, I can tell you that.
You think even with the motion through the? I
think a motion to reopen without attacking the underlying criminal convictions is a waste of your time. Now, luckily for you, the U.S. government probably will never get proof that you are you're Romanian and they can deport you, because Romania says you're not Romanian. They have no record of you. So, but what I would be doing is two things. Number one, I mean, yes, we should look at your file, but reopening on a 212H ain't going to work for you. I think.
No. This is, I apologize. Maybe
But I want to get to the other callers, and I think you really need a consultation. But I think, the way that I would be looking at it from your point of view, without the benefit of seeing your file. If I see your file, maybe I'll give you different advice. But the way I look at it, based on what you're telling me, is you got to either vacate a conviction or multiple convictions or get a pardon. But hold on one second, okay? Hold on.
Yes.
All right. 1-800-529-5465. Woo!
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 He had big problems.
Big problems. Let's go to Hillsborough County, New Hampshire. I don't know who's there, but Hillsborough County, New Hampshire. Mr. Williams from Hillsborough County, New Hampshire. You're up. What's up?
Hi, how you doing?
How are you?
Good, thanks.
What's going on?
Well, I have a question for you, because I haven't done this before or anything like that. But I have a son, he's in Jamaica, and I would like to get him up here to visit.
Your stepson is in Jamaica?
My personal son.
Your biological son?
Yes.
How old is he?
25.
And are you a citizen, a resident? What's your deal?
Resident.
How did you get your green card?
Well, I got married to an American.
Okay. So, I mean, you don't get your son a visitor's visa. Your son gets his own visitor's visa. He's a 25-year-old man. He has to be able to prove that he's coming to visit and going home. Okay? Now, that's a different situation than you trying to get him a green card, filing for him. Then, yes, that's something that you would do. But in terms of getting a visitor's visa, it has nothing to do with you at all. He has to go in and prove he has enough ties back to Jamaica that he's going to return home. Now, as a single man, 25 out of Jamaica, unless you have a really good job there, it's unlikely you're going to get the visitor's visa, but sometimes you do. You never know.
But he got 3 kids and stuff.
He has what?
He has 3 babies.
He has 3 babies?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's reason to return, but it's also reason for them to believe I got 3. I'm just telling you, I'm playing devil's advocate. I got 3 babies. Are they with the same woman or a different woman?
2 different women.
Okay, so 3 babies with 3 different women means that he's not really grounded in any family situation because he's got 3 babies with 3 different women. And I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but an immigration officer can say, you know what, you're not very grounded because you have 3 different women with 3 different children. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's perfectly fine, and I'm happy that he's happy, but they're going to say you don't have a family that you're going back to, that you're leaving. You're just leaving 3 babies behind, and maybe you don't make a good living here in Jamaica. Maybe you want to come to America, and yes, you want to be a good dad and support your children, so you're coming to America to go get a job to support your 3 babies. I'm not saying that's what they would say. I'm just saying it could be thought that way. So what I would suggest we do, don't do nothing. Let's have a consultation and figure out, you want to get your son here to visit, to live, whatever the situation is. Let's figure out the best way. Let's have a consultation first, okay? So hold on one second. All right. 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Tia in Hartford, Connecticut. Tia.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good evening. Okay, if my sibling do a petition for me, can you hear me?
Yes.
Do a petition for me, okay, and that's after I come to the United States and I overstay on my visa. Can I get a work permit or an SS number?
If your sibling does a petition for you, what you get is an I-130 receipt. It doesn't make you legal. So it doesn't get you a work permit. It doesn't give you a social. It doesn't give you anything. You're waiting 14, 15 years for a green card. Okay. So your question is, I have a sister, I'd like her to file for me, but it's going to be 15 years, and I'm going to get nothing over.
She does it already.
Okay, yeah, but you don't get anything from that. You just get put on a waiting list. So your question really is I'd like to get a green card, I'd like to become legal. So just like everybody else, I think you're going to need to have a consultation, and we're going to figure it out. But we're not going to figure it out.
Yes, how can I get a consultation?
All right, so now you're in Hartford, Connecticut. We have an office on Congress Street in Hartford, which is about 3 blocks down the street from the courthouse. So make an appointment to come see us on Congress Street in Hartford. So hold on one second, okay?
Okay.
All right. 1-800-529-5465. Aziz in the Bronx. Aziz.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hi, Aziz. How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
Good. What's going on?
Yeah, I just had my green card, But unfortunately, I have my political asylum still pending.
Right.
So is it possible for me to travel without like terminating that?
You have a green card, and it depends where you want to travel. You want to travel to your home country, then that's going to be problematic because you got political asylum saying my life is in danger if I go back to my home country, and now all of a sudden you got your green card through political asylum, and you're going back to your home country. So what the U.S. government is going to pull out, they're going to pull out a button. It's not really, but a figurative button if you were to travel home on asylum when you come back in the airport. It's called the bullshit button, okay? And they're going to say the whole asylum application was bullshit because you traveled home and after you claimed your life was in danger. So you can travel anywhere in the world except the country that you were in danger. Once you're a citizen, different story.
The green card was obtained through marriage, not through asylum.
But you filed an asylum claim.
Yes, please.
Okay, so then it still would be misrepresentation. You're still running into a problem. Once you're a citizen, then you should travel. That's my 2 cents.
So there is no need of me withdrawing the asylum.
No, you got a green card, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, were you in deportation?
No.
You were in deportation? No.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from?
From Senegal.
All right, hold on 1 second, because we have to see what's going on with you. All right? Let's go to Rona in Rockville, Maryland. Rona.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm just calling. I'm good. I'm just calling to ask a question for my friend. I have a friend. He's been in America for years, and he's gotten in a lot of problems, but he hasn't been asked to be deported. But now I think he's doing good, and he's got a girlfriend, and they have 2 kids.
Wait. Stop. So you got a friend, and you got in a lot of problems, but nobody ever deported him. So I guess the problems mean he was arrested, convicted, went to jail, whole bunch of mess. Okay?
Yeah.
And now you're saying he straightened his ass out. I'm cursing a lot. I got to stop that. Yeah. Okay. So he straightened out. He straightened out. Now he's got a girlfriend, possibly get married. They got 2 kids together.
No, he didn't get married. He want to get married.
I said possibly, right. Possibly get married. Right, to this woman. He's got 2 kids with her. You know, he's being a good dad. He wants to be a good husband, be a good guy. Question for you. What did he do wrong?
He wants to know
what did he do wrong,
and then for him to get married.
Yes, you can always get married. Whether we file immigration or not depends on what he did wrong. What did he do wrong?
I think he's got in trouble for drugs.
Then the answer is he's never going to get a green card if he got in trouble for drugs unless he vacates those convictions.
I don't think he's thinking about his papers right now, but
all right, so
he wants to get married.
Getting married is not a problem. When you go to the local clerk's office to get a license and a marriage certificate, nobody's fingerprinting you on the marriage case to physically get married. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That was it. They just want to know whether they're doing fingerprints at the marriage.
When they're getting married.
They are not doing fingerprints when you're getting married. They're only doing fingerprints when you are filing your papers.
Yes.
That's basically it. All right.
That would be crazy if the priest was like, all right, put your fingerprints right there. You are now man and wife.
And now I pronounce you man and wife.
All right, so let's do like 3 or 4 questions quickly. Tell me what's going on our different pages, and let's do 3 or 4 questions on social media. And I want to get to Jake Hudnut.
Absolutely. Denisha John is talking about what a wonderful married couple you guys would be.
Who?
Denisha John and you.
Me and Denisha.
You and Denisha.
Okay.
You and Denisha.
Every day somebody else is marrying me off on this thing.
That's a good point. Well, listen, better that than your son.
That's true.
That was your son weeks ago.
That is true. all right. And Jonathan, what's going on? Anybody marrying me on your side?
No.
Although Jonathan does bar mitzvahs, he can do weddings as well, right?
I hope so. Just hire me, guys.
All right. So what immigration questions do we have?
All right, I have one from Lenny West. How long is the process to petition siblings when your parents are both deceased?
The same amount of time as your parents are alive, which is about 15 years.
Millicent says, my sister-in-law filed for her son, but he has a visa. Is that going to be a problem?
No, but if he travels on the visa during the processing of his green card, it could be a problem.
Okay, Claudette Harris Caliste.
Yes.
My daughter is a teacher in Jamaica and she's pregnant. I would like for her to come to have her baby, but she doesn't have a visa. And I can't file for her. What can we bring to the embassy for her to get her visa?
See, so you want to go to the U.S. Embassy.
Yes.
With a pregnant daughter. Say,
Yes.
I want this daughter to come to America so she can give birth in America.
Yes.
Make an American citizen child.
Yes, because she's a teacher in Jamaica.
Because she's a teacher in Jamaica, and then have this U.S. citizen child.
Yes.
You can't do that. Okay.
You're right.
You can't go to the embassy and say, hey, I want to give birth in America. There's no birthing visa. As a matter of fact, if they know that you come on a visitor's visa, they even know you're pregnant with the intention of coming to America, you will never get a visa. You will never be allowed in America again. Okay? America doesn't want people from another country coming here on visitors' visas making babies.
So is there any way for them to bring anything to the embassy, or do they have to say like, oh, she's pregnant and...
Yeah, you got to tell the truth.
Yeah, you have to say that she's
because
pregnant.
you want to know what
They ask
Because let me tell you why, besides the fact that you're making an American citizen. Okay? Who do you think is paying for all the medical care for this child, for the birth and everything else? You think this teacher in Jamaica has $150,000 to pay for all the hospital care and the doctors? And
Right.
No. It's American taxpayer. Can't do it. Sorry.
Sean says, how soon after the I-797 are you going to get your work permit and interview?
9 months. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Barbershop quartet. All right.
Are we doing another?
Yeah.
Tess Dayami. I adopted one of my niece's child. My niece's child or niece's child. Don't know if it's one or the other. But how can I bring her into the U.S.?
They did the adoption already?
Yes, it says I adopted them.
Okay, where are they?
Does not say.
All right, let me tell you something. You did it backwards. Okay? You can't do the adoption and say, now that I've adopted, let me figure out what the law is so I can get the children here. Fact is, it's very difficult to bring adopted children from another country here. The adoption has to occur here, not in that country. The reason is most countries, Jamaica especially, does not allow children to come to, well, let me take that back. Most countries are not part of the Hague Convention, so you can't adopt in that country, and even if you do, you have to follow the protocols of the Hague Convention to immigrate a child here to America. Most countries, you can only bring a child as an orphan. So if you go to another country and a parent signs off on the adoption papers, guess what? That's not an orphan. Now you got to go live in that country for 2 years to bring that child here, because you got to live in the same household as the child for 2 years. It's every person who wants to bring a child here, use your brain. Don't go through an adoption process and then say, now that I've adopted, let me figure out how to get the kid here. Before you go through the adoption process, say, what adoption process should I go through to allow my child to come here that I want to do? And the adoption process would be, you bring a child here as an orphan. If the parents are alive, you strip the parents of their parental rights. Then you do a pre-adoption here, bring the child here, and then do the adoption here. There's an immigration paperwork to bring a child here to do adoptions here who are orphans. So I don't know what Tess did, but tell her to stop in her tracks and call me immediately. Yeah, we may have to undo what she's already done. There's nothing worse than undoing what you've done.
So you can't unadopt.
Maybe I don't know what we're going to do. So let's figure it out. Let's see what the facts are.
Call my boy Brad, y'all. Call him. Call him. I'll fix it.
Laverne wants to know, I'm an American citizen. Could I file for my daughter who's 26 and living in the States? She went to high school and college here.
Yes, and she probably is even DACA recipient, and yes, you should file for her, and yes, you can. Let's do this. I had met up with Jake Hudnut a little earlier today.
Oh.
Awesome.
Okay, and Jake is one of our criminal defense attorneys. Now watch, don't shut this off. You want to know why? Okay, and Jonathan, you should watch this too, because it's really, and Kim, you should watch this too. Everyone should watch this.
Everyone should watch this.
I will.
We're talking about stop and frisks.
Oh,
okay.
I really should watch
You
this.
really need to
I'm serious.
watch. Yeah.
You're walking down the street.
Absolutely.
Okay, cop stops you. What do you do? Now,
See, that's
who do you
the
think
thing,
the
yeah.
cops are stopping? If I'm walking down the street,
Me.
okay, or Jonathan or me?
Me?
Right.
Exactly.
They've done it already.
Correct. All right. So
I have a master's. There's nothing that I don't need to steal. I don't
That's
know.
right.
I don't need to
And
do
then
nothing bad.
and then you want to know where your rights are always violated? In the pat down. You're not allowed to pat you down.
Listen, I got stories for y'all, man.
They don't have
That's
to pat
crazy.
you down.
See, if I had known that, they probably would have
Let's
thrown my
watch
ass in
this.
jail, though. Look.
So today we're here to discuss stop and frisk. It is a big deal when people are walking down the street and they are stopped by a police officer, and police officers on a regular basis, not only here in New York, but around the United States of America, abuse their power, especially with people of color, people who are minorities, but it could be an abuse of almost anybody. Here to break it all down for you is none other than Jake Hudnut, one of our fabulous criminal defense attorneys here at Spar and Bernstein. He's here to break down stop and frisk, what the police can do, what the police can't do, and something called the Terry rule, which we're going to get into in a minute. But Jake, you know, everybody always asks the same question all the time. When can a cop stop me on the street, and what should I do?
Sure. Police have the right to stop us on the street and ask us questions as long as the reason that they're doing it isn't impermissible. Race is the biggest example. They can't just walk down the street and only stop people of color or only stop women. They are allowed to do fact-finding to help do their jobs. The important thing that people need to know is when they're free to leave and when they're not free to leave.
So when are you free to leave a stop? For example, you know, I was in the back of a car and the police stopped the car. True story, last week. Had nothing to do with me. I was in an Uber. And the police stopped it, and I rolled down the window after like 5 minutes. I said, "Officer, am I free to leave?" And he goes, "Yes, you can leave." So I asked, "But when?" And I left. I'm like, "I'm getting out of here."
Okay.
But true story. I don't know what the Uber. I don't know why they were pulling the Uber driver over, but I didn't want to get involved in it.
Did you give him my card?
No, I should have. When are you free to leave?
Sure. So there's 2 times when you're not free to leave. That's the important thing to keep in mind. And the first is obviously arrest, when police have probable cause that a crime has been committed or is being committed. That language comes from the 4th Amendment to the Constitution. And the other time, which is what we're talking about tonight, Terry stops or stop and frisk, is when the police have reasonable suspicion that a crime has been committed or is about to be committed.
So if the police do not have a reasonable suspicion, they don't have the right to stop you. Is that correct?
They don't have the right to detain you.
To detain you.
Yes.
They have the right to stop anybody as long as it is a random stop?
Not impermissible, not based on race.
As long as it's not based on race or religion,
Right.
or sexual orientation, or the same things that you can't do to like fire somebody in the workplaise.
Absolutely.
Correct?
And again, an absent reasonable suspicion of probable cause, you are free to say, "No, officer, I don't want to talk to you," and walk away without raising their suspicion further.
So now you say, okay, let's assume the officer says, "I'm stopping you because I have a reasonable suspicion that a crime is afoot."
Yes.
Okay. What is a reasonable suspicion?
A reasonable suspicion has been determined to be specific, articulable facts that the police officer can point to that a crime was being committed. Something didn't look right, but it has to be, the Supreme Court used really good language, and we'll talk about the history of the case. They said it has to be more than a hunch.
So articulable means that you have to say, "I saw a gun. I saw blood coming down from his clothes, and
Right.
there was somebody that was murdered a block away." You have to be able to say something more than, "He looked like a shady character."
Yeah, or it felt off, or something
Right.
felt off, something
Right.
felt funny. That would not hold up in court afterward.
Okay, so now you said the Supreme Court, and right behind us I see there's a guy getting arrested right there. Now the Supreme Court in 1968, I believe, is that right?
Yes.
In 1968, they came down with the Terry decision. I don't remember, it was Terry versus somebody.
Ohio.
Terry versus Ohio, and they came down and they said, this is what a police officer can and can't do in a stop. Tell us about it.
And that was a very interesting time in the 60s. A lot of opinions were giving more rights to defendants, but this actually gave a little bit more right to police. In 1963, a police officer was by a store. 3 men kept walking by. They'd stand on a different corner. They'd look inside. They'd start to walk to the store. They'd walk away. They were acting rather suspicious, and they were doing it over and over and over again. They approached the store. The police officer stopped them and detained them briefly and conducted a pat-down and felt a revolver in one of the individuals, probably Terry, in his pocket. They were charged with attempted robbery, and the admission of the gun held up in court, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court 5 years later.
And the Supreme Court said what?
They said, this is okay, and they gave us this term, reasonable suspicion.
Because there was a reasonable suspicion that they were walking back and forth.
Yes.
That there was potentially something was going to happen.
Yeah, they were on different sidewalks, and they'd get back together. They were basically casing.
They were casing out the joint.
Yes.
Okay. So now, what about the pat down? Because there was a stop, and then there's the pat down. Okay, because you get stopped as long as you're not for race, religion, whether you're a man or a woman, sexual orientation, age. They can stop and ask questions. Now, they have to let you go. This is what we've learned. They have to let you go unless they have a reasonable suspicion that a crime is afoot or a crime just happened. A reasonable suspicion has to be something more than a hunch, something more than they look suspicious. Well, why did they look suspicious? So now, let's assume, like in this Terry case, that I'm walking down the street and I'm casing out the joint, and the cop is able to articulate properly that it looks like I'm casing out the joint to rob it. When is he allowed to pat me down?
Sure.
And during this stop?
So this is where stop and frisk is most abused. An officer truly can only pat you down when he fears that you're about to commit a violent crime, or he has reason to believe that you're armed. So in the case of Terry, the idea is if you're going to hold up a store, you need a weapon to do that. But truly, and again, this is where stop and frisk is abused mostly in urban settings by police, to really move to that stop down. You can't just be investigating drug possession. You can't just be investigating turnstile jumping. But this is where this is most abused. Police routinely move to that pat down when really they can only move to that pat down when they are able to point to articulable facts that the person is armed or about to do something violent.
So unless the cop believes and can articulate that this person looks, you just can't say he looked dangerous, okay? But that he can articulate that that there was some fact that would lead me to believe that he has a weapon.
Yes.
That, and only under those circumstances would he be able to pat you down.
Yes.
Before he actually arrests you.
Yes.
I assume.
And in fact, there's even there's cases where an officer feels what is very they're not necessarily allowed to go in the pocket, but if they can feel in the pocket what is clearly drugs, truly they're not allowed to go in and get that because it's not a weapon. Right, and so they can't manipulate things over the pocket. It has to be readily apparent that it's a weapon. So there's, and this is abused. You know, folks are probably surprised to hear this because this is most.
This happens to people every day on the street. They get abused, they get frisked, they get stopped, and rights are being violated. And it's good to know what your rights are. And quite frankly, when your rights are being violated on the street and the cop is doing this, you don't really have a lot you can do. I mean, you could say, hey, stop it, I know my rights. But the cop may or may not do it anyway. The cop may just violate your rights in any event. The playing field evens out once you get into a courtroom and you have a good lawyer who knows what rights you have and can articulate that. We're going to use the word articulate again. Articulate that to a judge and say, hey, my client's rights were violated. This whole case should be thrown out.
Absolutely.
Now, all of this, during the Giuliani administration and certainly a lot through the Bloomberg administration, in New York City, and we're in New York City, but this goes around the entire United States. There was a very long time that cops were stopping young men in the street, mostly of color or Hispanic origin, and they were stopping them for no articulable reason and frisking them.
Yes.
And a lot of innocent people, okay, this is no shock, a lot of innocent people went to jail. And a lot of people went to jail that shouldn't have if their rights had not been violated. Now, something happened in 2013 in New York that changed it.
Yes.
Okay, what happened?
It sort of came to a boiling point, and a federal district court judge struck down the NYPD's application of stop and frisk and said, now it's important, they didn't strike down Terry, right, but they said that the way New York City was doing it was wrong. And
so what was New York City doing wrong, and now what do they have to do moving from 2013 moving forward?
Namely, two things wrong: a disproportionate application to young men of color, and two, moving to that pat down absent the notion that the person is dangerous or has a weapon, right? So the judge said NYPD must order them to put policies in place to better decide when to apply Terry, and that was eventually upheld by the Second Circuit.
What were the policies that you can articulate now? I love using that word, articulate.
Sure, I know.
What are those policies that New York cops have to do now on the streets in a stop?
Right. Well, New York NYPD actually has a very good Terry stop manual in place now that officers go through in training to learn exactly about not only the history of Terry, just as if they were in law school, but the way to best apply it. And in fact, many groups are arguing that this has led to the recent reduction in crime in New York City, that police officers are...
It's counterintuitive, but makes sense.
It does, and for some of the reasons they point to it is that police officers are better allocating their resources. They're not stopping people that aren't doing anything wrong. It's less innocent people sitting in jail clogging up the courts, and it's actually stopping people that are doing something wrong. So it's actually an effective deterrent when it's applied appropriately. So adhering to this fundamental constitutional principle is reducing crime in urban areas.
So now you are a criminal defense attorney here at Spar and Bernstein. Everybody has seen you time and time again here on the Brad Show Live. You do a fantastic job for our clients here. I am sure throughout your career you have seen this plenty of times where your clients have come to you and you said, wait a second, this violated the Terry rule. This may have even violated the district court's rule that says New York City is illegally stopping and frisking young men of color and Hispanic origin. Where have you seen this in your practice of law, representing clients who call us here at Spar and Bernstein? Where have you used this practically to get somebody off? Because again, when your rights are being violated on the street, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, the police have the power over you. It evens out, the playing field evens out when you got I don't want to say great, a very good, you can't say great, but a very, very good lawyer like Jake Hudnut, representing you. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. I think the way that a doctor takes your temperature when you go there sick, a good criminal defense attorney reads the police report first and looks for why did the police stop you in the first place. So Terry comes into play all the time. So many of the calls we get after these segments, the first thing we do is go to, well, why were you stopped in the first place? Because if we can beat it there, then we can beat the whole thing. So we're constantly looking at that. I had a case once where, very similar to the men in Terry, I had a client that was just going in and out of his home repeatedly, and police had been across the street doing a stakeout because they received a tip that there was drug activity going on. They approached my client. Terry has since been extended to areas within your reach when you're in an automobile. So they searched him and the areas within his reach, and in the glove box were a large amount of drugs repackaged for sale.
But he didn't give them permission to go search that glove box.
No, it was a Terry stop by way of Terry has since been extended to
cars.
Yes, when you're in the car.
Right. But you would have to, but in absence some reasonable suspicion that there's a crime afoot, they wouldn't have the right to go and look into his glove box.
No, not in those situations where it's in front of his house like that.
Right.
But the prosecutor argued that it was a valid Terry stop. He had a criminal record. He faced an extended term of imprisonment in prison. But through diligent motion practice, I was able to actually get a judge to put cops on the stand and say, you know what, that's not specific, that's not articulable. And under Terry, threw it out.
Yeah, just because you have an extensive prior criminal past doesn't mean that you're committing a crime at this very moment.
Right.
That's absolutely no evidence that anything is happening at this very moment.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's a fantastic job. Now, obviously, the guy did, in fact, have drugs in his car. We're not sitting here saying, We're not sitting here saying, yes, you should go around with drugs in your car. Yes, you should go break the law. What we are saying is what's the most important thing here in the United States of America, certainly in the state of New York, in the state of New Jersey, but in every state in the United States of America is your rights. You have a right in the United States not to be stopped and frisked. You have a right in the United States not to be stopped because you look like a person who may be committing a crime. You have the right in the United States not to be stopped and frisked because you look like different than the cop. You have a right not to be stopped and frisked because you're a person of color, or you're Hispanic, or you look like an immigrant, or you look like a minority, or you just because you're walking down the street and the cop didn't like the way you looked. He has to have an articulable reason to stop you, to go beyond the stopping you, to frisk you, to pat you down in case he thinks you have a weapon. And all of these things are your rights to privacy that you have in the United States, to be left alone by police, to not have police overbear on you. So when these things happen, obviously on the streets, you can't stop it. But what you can do is have good criminal defense lawyers at your ready, by your side. God forbid these things happen. And these things happen every day still. So what I tell everybody out there is save our telephone number. You never know when you're going to need very good criminal defense attorneys. Not only do we got Jake Hudnut here, not only do we got David Moreno here, Paul Hirsch here, all fabulous criminal defense attorneys. Save our number. The telephone number is 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465. And I tell everybody, the best way to save our telephone number is literally dial it. Pick up the phone, dial the number, hang up, and you have good criminal defense attorneys saved for life. Because on the street, they're going to violate your rights. But you know what? As soon as you get to that police station, you don't say anything. You just say, I want to call my lawyer, 1-800-LAW-LINK. And we'll be there, and then the playing field gets evened out. Jake Hudnut, fabulous job as always. Thank you, really informative, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so that was Jake Hudnut from Spar, Bernstein, criminal defense attorney. That was a very good conversation. There's lots of people don't know what their rights are, and quite frankly, the most important thing you know is that when you're on the streets and cops are stopping you, you got to expect your rights are going to be violated. It just happens. It's life. But what happens is, what people don't understand is, it can be argued in court that because your rights were violated, whatever they feel you were doing wrong, whether you were or not, should be tossed out of court. Yeah. Okay. So if you're actually doing something wrong, you want your rights to be violated. You're going to get the whole case tossed out of court. Mm-hmm. And if you're not doing something wrong and your rights were violated, well then guess what? You have a lawsuit against the police and the jurisdiction that arrested you for false arrest and violation of your rights. People just have to know this stuff. So right now, we don't have any calls right now. So let's go to our social media check-in with Kim and Jonathan and see what everybody has to say.
All right. So I have one from Ria. Mm-hmm. Okay. Ria says, my eldest daughter petitioned me, and now I'm an immigrant for almost 2 years. My husband and our other two children, ages 19 and 16, are still in the Philippines, represented. Can I already process their papers, or do I have to wait until I'm an American citizen?
Start right now. How did they get their green card? How did she get her green card?
Her eldest daughter petitioned her.
The day you come to the United States, you should be turning around filing applications for your children and your husband. As soon as you enter the United States, you file for your husband, you file for your children, file separate applications for each of them.
Carlos has a really interesting problem. My wife is already approved for a visa, but when she received her passport, it was already expired. What can we do?
The visa, was it? Well, it depends on what the visa was. Was it a visitor's visa? Was it an immigrant visa? Was it a student visa? Let's get a little more information. Obviously, you have to go back to the U.S. Embassy, but let's get a little more information on what that's all about.
Okay, I have one from Whitty Baker. She says, I've been here in the U.S. for 33 years, and I'm an American citizen. Can I invite my sisters and brothers to visit me?
Yes.
All right.
How
about how?
All right, you know, everybody always. All right, so thank you very much, Jonathan. I thought that was just a yes/no question. Everybody always wants to know, how do you get a visitor's visa? It's not about you inviting them. Yeah, anyone can invite them. Getting a visitor's visa is the person goes into the U.S. Embassy who lives in another country, and they say, I want to go visit America. Maybe I'm visiting my sister. Here's the invite. Maybe I want to see the Empire State Building. Maybe I'm just going to stay in the Marriott in Times Square, and here's my hotel reservation. Whatever it is that they're doing, here is what I'm doing, but it's only part of the case. The more important part of the case is, this is what I have left behind that is going to make me return and not violate my visa status, whether it's a job, property, family, whatever you have. This is why I'm going to return. That's what they really got to show.
Donette says, when a citizen parent files for their 17-year-old stepchild who is currently living with them in the United States, what evidence are they going to need to bring to the interview?
Proof that there was a marriage between you and the mom before the 18th birthday, and that the mom eventually got her green card, that you're in a bona fide marriage with her.
Okay, Marsha Munchie Smith. Hey, Munchie. If you came here without inspection, can you marry a retired veteran and don't have to go back home to pick up your green card?
Yes. You're supposed to say, how? What?
I was waiting for it.
How?
I was waiting for the camera to hit me.
Yeah, how? Okay. If you marry a veteran, even if you entered without inspection, you could apply for something called parole in place, which is like a fake document that says you made a legal entry when you didn't, but it's actually legal, issued by the U.S. government. It's really to help veterans, people who are in the military, and people who are currently in the military or former military, to help their family get their green cards. It's parole in place. It was actually an executive order by Barack Obama. Thank God, so far Trump has not taken that away from the U.S. military. So yes, you can marry him. We apply for parole in place, and then you adjust your status.
Advar had a question regarding the really good stop and frisk segment that we just saw with Jake Hudnut. He said, what if they make up the articulation?
Well, that's why you have a good lawyer, okay? Because when you put cops on stands and they make crap up, they usually trip up when they are questioned by a good lawyer.
Yeah, you have to get them.
Snaps are the good lawyers at Spar Bernstein family, at Spar Bernstein.
All right. All right. I have one from Martine Thompson. Quick question.
Yes.
But there's a long paragraph.
Oh boy.
All right. So my attorney filed a U visa for myself. Did my biometrics in November. Was told that I should get something by March. So it's March and it's about to end. I tried to check my status online using the receipts, but it keeps coming back saying that the receipt number is not valid. Any suggestions?
Well, first of all, the online thing could be an error. Number two, you will not get anything on a U visa for well into 2 years into your case. They only issue 10,000 visas a year. There's a huge backlog on U visas. What you can do, or what your lawyer should have done, is if you can show humanitarian reasons after 180 days why you need work authorization, you should be able to apply for work authorization. Now, I have a little concern that immigration says there's no record of your case number, but I assume you have something from immigration that has a case number or receipt notice, so I wouldn't be overly worried about that, but you shouldn't be expecting any kind of reply on your U visa for several years, only because they give 10,000 out a year. But what you can do is apply for your work permit right now.
We've got Vans, who has a really kind of heartbreaking situation. He says, when Hurricane Haiyan hit the Philippines, it hit Tacloban, where my entire family was, and nearly my entire family was wiped out.
Oh my God.
A week after I found...
Hurricane, or is it typhoon?
I think
probably
that
at typhoons in the Philippines, it's typhoons.
If it's in the right,
yeah, right.
And I think I remember Haiyan too. Like that was a massive storm.
Yeah. And probably the buildings are probably not built very strong,
particularly sturdy.
there. Yeah.
So a week after he found some of his family members, he got information that they can petition for the family that were in Tacloban that were hit by the typhoon. So he went ahead and filed for his sister.
He's a citizen, a resident? What is he?
I'm not sure. I believe he's a resident.
Yeah.
By the tone of his thing.
You can, as a resident, file for sister. You can only file as a citizen. I'm not aware. I am not aware of any special program that the victims of the typhoon in Tacloban get some sort of special benefits. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I just never heard of it. So
maybe that's his issue, because he's saying that he filed for his sister. So the hurricane happened in 2013. So that's 5 years ago.
Yeah, you got a long wait under normal circumstances. I'm not sure exactly what special program. They very well could be. I just don't know off the top of my head. But what you should do is have a consultation. If you want to try to get your sister here, we'll obviously look to see if there's a special program for them, or if not, what other ways we can do it.
Okay, so I have one from Hope.
Hope.
Let's give some hope.
Hope.
All right. Hope Yambao.
Yes.
Okay, I came here with a petition. I'm gonna have to read this over. Okay.
Why? What's the problem?
It's it's a little different. So I'm just gonna put this together. Okay. So I came here with the petition
just say it
of my
exactly.
husband.
Say it exactly as she says it.
No, I got you.
Because I have on my computer something called a Facebook to English translator. So so whatever is written on Facebook, we'll translate it into English.
But if it's English already.
Yeah, but usually the questions on Facebook are like sometimes indecipherable. So just say it as it is.
I think I got this. I got this. So I came here with a petition with her husband. It's sad to say that it did not work out. She is moving out. She wants a divorce. Is it possible to get a divorce even though she's had her green card for 2 years and wants to continue her life in the U.S.? So she wants to keep her green card.
Absolutely. The basic concept is this. You got a 2-year green card. The government does not want you to stay in an unhappy marriage. There's no rule that says you have to stay in an unhappy marriage in order to keep your green card. What the government wants to do by only giving you a 2-year green card instead of a 10-year green card is they want to make sure that there was no shenanigans, no BS, no business, whatever word you want to. No bamboozling. That's the word they use from Guyana.
Bamboozling.
Yeah, bamboozled.
That's a good word.
Guyanese. That's the word the Guyanese use.
Bamboozled?
Yes.
You know what? We need to start giving y'all some credit.
That's a great word.
That's a good word, right?
Yeah, I always use bamboozled.
Yeah. So whatever it is, they want to make sure that your marriage was legit. Okay, that's what we say here in New York. Okay, that it was legit.
Too legit to quit.
Correct. So if you're not in a happy marriage, what the law says is you can get a divorce, and after your divorce, if you can prove that at some point in time in the past it was a real marriage and you're divorced, you still get your permanent green card. So guess what? You get to stay here either way.
Naomi says, I'm here in LA as a tourist for the second time. A friend told me that I could work here under an EB2 visa because I have a master's degree. I have a Master of Arts in Nursing Service Administration and will be given a green card within just 6 months if there's somebody who is willing to sponsor me. My question is it true? And if so, who can help me look for a sponsor?
It could be true. The EB2 category, there's not much of a waiting list, and those are given to people with master's degrees working in master's degrees job, or people with bachelor's degrees with 5 years progressive work experience. So if you have a master's degree in nursing administration and you're going to find a job, say in a nursing home or in a hospital, as a master's degree level nursing job, they can certainly sponsor you for your green card, and it's a very fast process. Who's going to help you look for a job? Who's going to help anybody look for a job? You got to do it yourself, okay? You got to go hit the pavement. Go on Indeed. Go on job search websites. Go look for jobs, and then go on the interview and say, hey, guess what? If you like me the best, and you're having trouble finding an American for the job, because that's what you got to be able to prove to get a green card, then hire me and do a sponsorship. And by the way, I watched this show the other day, and there's this lawyer, Brad. Call him. He knows what he's doing. I can
He
do the sponsorship.
knows
He
what
does.
he's doing.
Lawyer Brad.
Call my boy Brad.
Look at the big brain on Brad.
What else you got?
You want more?
No. What I want to do. No. You want bonus?
Wait.
Huh?
We got
You want bonus?
This? You want a piece of this, Brad?
Yeah. So we said Kimmy Kim Kim. Was it you?
It was me.
Okay. We sent Kimmy Kim Kim out on the street, and we asked American citizens. These are real American citizens just walking randomly down the street, immigration questions if you were in a marriage interview. And you would be surprised that most Americans can't even pass the immigration interview that they put people through to get a green card.
I know I probably wouldn't.
What?
I probably wouldn't be able
No.
to.
So if you are in a marriage or contemplating marriage, these questions that you are going to hear Kimmy Kim Kim ask American citizens on the street, couples walking down the street, these are real questions that we have heard in immigration interviews, on marriage interviews for adjustment of status. Let's watch.
Hey Bradshaw fam, it is Belgium Kim, Kimmy Kim Kim, whatever you want to call me, back for another round of Bradified Marriage, or as immigration likes to call it, a Stokes interview. Let's see how well they did and if they're doing better than our last few couples. We are introducing you to Helly and Nick today. What does Helly normally eat for breakfast?
Ooh, there's a lot. There's a lot.
He usually he makes pancakes. Most of the time he'll make pancakes. He'll do like a wrap, a sandwich, like sausages with egg whites. Yeah, that's what I got.
He normally eats egg whites with, oh man, sausage? Yeah, most likely sausage, yeah. I forgot. I'm so sorry, yeah. If you're watching this, Helly, I'm so sorry.
Nick, what do you normally eat for breakfast?
I normally eat a sausage burrito with cheese inside.
I eat pancakes and cereal and like fruits, waffle. Well, it's not really waffle. I don't like waffle.
Now, Nick, did you answer that question correctly about Helly?
No, I did not. I did not.
And it's crazy because he's the one who makes me the pancakes. So.
I do.
Usual breakfast.
No, we had this conversation, so you should know.
But Helly, you can't be that mad. What did you say Nick ate for breakfast?
I said a wrap. I said pancakes, sausages. He didn't mention sausages.
He did mention sausages.
Egg whites.
You were definitely closer to the right answer than Nick was.
I'll give her that. I'll give her that.
What food allergies does Helly have?
None.
Ooh, let's hope that's right.
Nick is not allergic to anything.
What food allergies do you both have?
I don't have
any food allergies.
When you guys spend the night together, who's the last person to turn the light off in the bedroom?
The last person to turn off the light will probably be him.
She would most likely turn off the bedroom light because I normally go to sleep early and I wake up early, and she goes to sleep late and she wakes up late.
Who's the last person to turn off the lights before you go to bed when you guys spend the night?
Whoa! You're the one who stays up more than me!
No.
Yes, you do!
That's on the weekends.
Really?
Because Nick was saying, I fall asleep super early. That's why she always usually turns the light off.
That's true. He does. He falls asleep earlier. Yeah, he does. So I guess it'll be me since he goes to sleep.
What did you get Helly for her last birthday?
Ooh. What's that again?
I actually took him to different places. I took him to the observatory. I took him to the observatory. Was that? Oh my god! It was like 2 weeks ago, and I already forgot.
Wait, he didn't mention that his birthday was 2 weeks ago.
It was March 11th. No, a week ago, March 11th. That's bad. That's really bad. I usually have the good memory here. Like I'm usually with some good memory. It's not really her.
Oh, I know what I got her. I got her a pair of Vans. And let's see what else I got her. Oh, Helly, you're gonna kill me. I'm sorry, baby, you're gonna kill me. I don't remember. It's gonna kill me, and that's fine. I don't mind. I'll take the risk.
I took him to eat. We went to this nice restaurant, like the Hibachi. And what did we do? We took pictures. I gave him a little photo shoot since he has a professional camera. We did that.
Cute.
Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah?
What'd you get Helly for her last birthday?
I thought I remember. I took her to Actually, I got her earrings. Like I got her like a set of for a necklace and earrings. Yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. We have it recorded. That was not in the first answer.
Oh, I know what I got her. I got her a pair of Vans.
Cheater.
It's alright. I just remember too, because you know what? It's throughout the 4 years. You know, sometimes you have to remember like throughout the past times, and you're just like, wow, I've gotten so many things that it's just like an adventure. Like you might not remember. Sometimes you would remember, and that's what I feel like I've gone through with her over the 4 years that I've been with her.
Oh, you caught that really well. Tell me, what was the last thing that you got Nick for his birthday, which we found out was 1 mere week ago?
Yep.
I took him to the observatory. I took him out to eat hibachi, and we went take a photo shoot together, and it was a cute day. Yeah.
Did you mention the observatory, Nick?
I did not.
You did not.
But she didn't mention anything else. She forgot something. She forgot something else too. She took us to a painting lounge.
Oh yeah. Is that a quarter of a point? A half?
50%. 50%.
Do you have a TV show that you guys watch together?
Not necessarily.
Together we watch Flash, and most of the time we always watch different shows because I like Grey's Anatomy. He doesn't like Grey's Anatomy.
Normally we watch like Chicago Med or Grey's Anatomy. She normally watches Grey's Anatomy. She actually recommended me this show called The Doctor, and or The Good Doctor. Yes, The Good Doctor.
We don't discuss this because we don't watch the same show. Sometimes I'll be like, oh hey, watch this, but he doesn't watch it. So so he tells me to watch his show. So I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it because you don't listen to me. So sorry.
Wildly different answers. We got completely opposite answers. Do you have a TV show that you like to watch together? Who's lying?
I've actually watched Good Doctor. I've watched it a couple times, and then afterwards.
We didn't discuss it. We didn't discuss it. We watch similar shows,
Yes.
but it's not the same one. They're related.
What she watches is Grey's Anatomy. I watch Chicago Med. It's basically the same thing. It's romantic stuff, basically around the same concept.
I will tell you, if you were doing a real marriage interview, you would have failed miserably. You guys have plenty of time to get all the answers to these questions, a lifetime to get her to figure it out. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys very soon, I'm sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. They would have failed their interview, and the person who was ever applying for the green card would have been put in deportation. They give you about 100 questions, and if you get more than 2, 3, 4 wrong, you're done. All right? And these are people who are in a real relationship. And there's lots of people in a real relationship who say, oh, yeah, I don't need any help. You got to really give a lot of thought ahead of time to what type of interview and what you're going to be doing before you go in. And that's a perfect example. All right, Jonathan and Kimberly Kimmy Kim.
Yeah.
Kimmy Kim.
Yeah, you saw him having trouble doing intros now.
Don't wear out my name. All right, let's finish up on social media check-in. And then I want to talk about where Jonathan's going to be tomorrow. If anybody wants to see him.
See me live.
All right, let's, what do we got on social media?
So we have Roger Roy. He wants to know, when you're stopped by the police, are you required to roll down your window all the way down? Good question.
Yeah, what you're required to do is follow lawful commands by a police officer. So if a police officer says, roll down the window all the way, that would be a lawful command. I don't see that as a violation of your rights. You roll down the window. You follow the instructions, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how about if they say come out?
Then you get out of the car.
Okay.
You follow what they ask you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
when is it that they're overstepping or they're
when they say, sir, may I look inside your car? May I look inside your trunk? May I open up your glove box?
So that's when you can say no.
You can say no, you don't have a right to.
Okay. It's the law, but it's so hard to believe that they would be like, okay, well, thank you, have a good night,
Right.
I'm out.
Right. Because right. So
they'll be like, I'm gonna arrest you if you don't.
But you know what? You're gonna get arrested either way. So now if they, because you don't have any power on the street. All right, the cops have all the power over you on the street. They're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to arrest you. They're going to do whatever they want to do. So the only thing you can do is follow. You want to follow what they tell you to do because you don't want to get beat up. You don't want to get hurt. You don't want to get thrown on the ground, punched and kicked. But at the same time, you want to tell them you don't have a right to do it. So if they say, may I look inside? No, you may not look inside. Will you step out of the car? Yes, because it's a lawful command. Okay. But once there's an invasion of your privacy, once they're asking you to open up, to do something, then that's if they say put your hands up, of course you have to put your hands up.
Right.
You don't want to do something that's going to make you get injured. But at the same time, you can say no. Don't look inside my car.
So if they do arrest you,
let's say you say
and
you get out of the car.
One second.
Let's say you get out of the car. Let's say you get out of the car, and you're out of the car, and they say, okay, up against the side of the car, you follow the directions.
Okay.
And then they say, okay, will you allow me to open up your trunk? You say, no, cannot open up my trunk. And now they go open up your trunk, and guess what? Jonathan has like 20 pounds of weed in his trunk. Okay, now that would never happen. I know.
What are you doing, man? 20 pounds?
I know.
What are you doing?
I know that would never happen.
It wouldn't.
That would never happen ever.
Which is why I want to know what would happen if they don't have nothing.
Then there's no reason to arrest you, and then if they're still arresting you anyway, then it's an unlawful arrest. It's unlawful all across the board. On the same token, let's say they find the weed, they say, aha, gotcha, got the weed. But now you got a good lawyer in court. That weed is going to be thrown out because they never had a right. You never gave them permission to open up the trunk.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. What else? Quickly.
We got Sue Wong Wong, who said, Brad, if my sister went on her green card interview on Friday in New York, she said that everything went well, apart from the fact that her husband confused the dates of moving in to live with her after he was asked a second time. At first he was right, but then the immigration officer asked again in a different form, and that's when he got confused. Are they going to run into trouble?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how the rest of the interview went, so it's possible.
Okay, George Williams says, I'm in Canada. How can I get my working visas for the state?
Call 1-800-529-5465 and have a consultation.
There you go.
You already know. Olawale says, for someone that came into the U.S. with a B2 visa and in the long run found a job, the boss showed more interest in him due to his dedication towards the job. And even though he's not a legal person yet, it's actually not to work in the U.S. with the kind of visa that he's got. So his visa does not allow him to work, but the boss is still very enthused by the work that this guy is doing. Apparently,
so he's working illegally.
Illegally, yes.
Right.
So the question is there anything the boss can do to file for him to get authorization to work in a green card?
Maybe the boss can do a job sponsorship, but we'd have to find out a lot more.
Okay.
Is that it?
That is it.
So tomorrow, Jonathan, you're going to be off. But you will still be working.
Yes.
Jonathan is going to be at the New York City Students Create Network event platform for young. Well, it's a mouthful, for young Ethiopian professionals such as Jonathan.
Wow.
It's a student-led initiative in New York. It's there to create a greater platform for young Ethiopian professionals.
Not only young Ethiopian, anybody can come.
But it is brought to you by the Young Ethiopian Professionals Student Network.
Exactly.
Okay, but anybody can come.
Oh.
And it's a network with established business leaders, entrepreneurs.
Oh, look at him. That's with the shade face.
This month, an event called Network to Net Worth.
Yes.
I like that. Oh, wow, look at you.
I know, with the baby
look
face.
At the
there it is. Network to Net Worth. It's scheduled in New York City at Do. Where is Do Supper Club? Where's that?
That is on 59 West 21st Street.
59 West 21st Street.
Yes.
And what time does it start?
So it starts, doors open at 5, reception at 5:30. The mixer is at 6. And the Q&A, which I will be moderating, will be, I know, right? Pretty fancy.
Yeah, very fancy.
Yeah, they want me to moderate.
You are the moderator.
I'm the moderator.
Right, you're right. Yeah, right. It's the Jonathan show tomorrow.
So yeah, that will start at 7. And the people that we have are amazing. We have 3 women, which is amazing. One male, he is the executive director of Morgan Stanley. One of the females is Galila, who's also Tyler Perry's girlfriend and baby's mother. She's a model, filmmaker.
Galila Bakel.
Yes, Bakela. Yes, and then we have Tizita Balamlai, who is a fashion designer who created her own clothing line. She works with Rihanna, Janae Aiko, and then we also have Lydia Govena, who looks very young, the one all the way to the right. She's actually a partner at a top law firm and also owns her own jewelry line.
And that's amazing because the four of them are probably saying, yeah, and we got this guy, Jonathan.
Elias.
Come on, let's get it. Jonathan Elias, and he's on the Brad Show Live. So he's the biggest, biggest straw there. Biggest straw there.
For Tyler Perry's girlfriend. You had a baby with him. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
but I'm on Brad Show Live.
All right, we'll see you all tomorrow. Have fun, Jonathan, tomorrow.
Thank you.
So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465.